Hello, everybody. Let's give it a couple seconds to make sure we're live. Hello, hello. Hello, world.
Uh,
Looks like we are live.
Very
we can go ahead
good.
and get going. Let's see here. We have a comment from Gary waiting for the stream to go live. Hey, Gary. If you're out there, welcome. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for waiting.
So this is the BlindTechAdventurers podcast and YouTube channel, and we are going live. This is Thursday, the 12th. Yeah, that's May 12th. That's when
Yeah.
this thing is going live. And we have some mystery guests with us. They're going to introduce themselves shortly. They're going to talk about this very cool, innovative, new method of teaching Braille and learning Braille. And I think this can be a lot of fun for some people. Then, so this is a little bit different from our usual format. Then we're going to circle back around. We'll talk about the news. There were just a couple of things announced this week, or maybe a lot more than that, with some company called Google.
A big couple, yeah.
And so we'll talk about that, and then we'll do a demo of the sound recorder app in Windows that was just released, the Insider build. And we'll finish up with more talk about dots. So we'll chow on Braille today.
Yeah.
And Austin wants to know if we've heard the TV show. Press your luck. No, sorry, I'm not a TV person. Have you ever heard
I
this
know
show?
that one. Old game
right.
show.
Well, let's go ahead and get going. So we're going to introduce our guests to start off with, our mystery guests. And so get your popcorn, get your movie, get your whatever you need to enjoy the show, get your beverage, get your cuddle partner.
Yeah.
And let's have a good time. All right. So let's see. Who's first in the alphabet? Julie looks like first in the alphabet. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Harrison, and I have been a music therapist teacher at the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind for about 18 years. And I even had Nimmer when he was in middle school in my music classes. So I'm just really proud to say that. And
You're alive.
and I survived. No, he was wonderful.
I think she had to leave for a while. And,
And
well, actually, I left, so that's probably why she survived.
no, he was an amazing student. I'm just so proud of him now, too. Okay, and Keith, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm the developer behind the app, and I started coding back in the mid-1990s when I did a joint physics and computer science degree in South Africa, and that's kind of where I started coding. And that's why I ended up doing the kind of nuts and bolts behind the app.
Excellent. And then we've got Sharon.
Yes, sorry, I'm going to be coughing a lot. There's a lot of fires going on out here today.
That was Kurt last week. It's okay.
Yep.
Keep the train going. So hi, I'm Sharon Kay. I started out at the School for the Deaf and the Blind in Colorado as Julie's music therapy intern. And then got the opportunity to become the preschool teacher, and it's the end of my 4th year in that position, and I get the opportunity to use Tonal Braille, which we'll be talking about with my kids to teach them Braille, and it's been a lot of fun.
Very nice.
Excellent. Quentin is here with us. Hello, Quentin. Glad to see you here.
Quentin.
Austin wants to know how to tell. Austin, you always have some interesting questions for us, but let's get to some of these questions after the presentation. All right, but thanks for your question there. And all right, let's go ahead and get started. So what is this? I first encountered this through a Facebook post, and it came through, and I don't even remember who shared it. I think maybe you shared it, Julie, and or maybe it was through the School for the Blind. I have no idea. Anyway, I saw this and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And it seems to me like a very innovative new or way of teaching Braille. I don't know how new it is, but it seems really innovative and probably helps out a lot of people, especially those who have some inclination for music, and which a lot of blind people seem to.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit, or somebody wants to tell us something about how this project got going and what it even is? I'm just referencing some project that nobody knows about.
Sure, sure. We definitely know about it. That's a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. And Sharon and Keith, if you feel like I missed anything or you want to fill in any blanks, please do so. In 2018, two teachers of the visually impaired and two music therapists began to collaborate on this project. One of the teachers approached us and said that her class just had an affinity for pitch that year. She had about 6 students, and I would say 5 of them had perfect pitch. And she could just tell that that music was something that was really impactful for her class. So she asked, is there anything that you can do with pitch? And of course, we have tons of Braille songs that we would teach, like here's the letter A, we would have like some kind of jingle or ditty for it. But instead of that, we decided to go even further and just look at pitch in general, like just relating pitch to each Braille dot. So the project was founded on the basis that we can use pitch as a strategy to teach Braille. We started relating each dot on the Braille cell to a pitch in a scale. And we were hoping that this could assist with attention and recall of the letters and the Braille dots. We took the pitches, C, D, E, F, G, A, 6 pitches, and assigned it to dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so, for example, the letter A has 1 dot, so we used the C bell, we used bells at the time, to introduce dot 1, which is A. So we needed, in order to do the project, you needed to sing. You needed to be able to sing on pitch, because you would introduce these bells and then introduce the letter to the student while singing to them. And then the student would sing it back. And after studying 7 students, I think we studied 8 students, we just added this as a strategy to their normal Braille instruction. We found that all of them, actually 7 out of the 8, increased their attention after we used this strategy. So the only problem that we found was that you had to be like a music therapist or a music teacher, or have some sense of pitch in order to use this strategy, because it would be purpose singing off pitch to a student who has perfect pitch. So we decided to work together and create this app where you didn't have to sing, but actually the app would sing it for you when you used it with the student. And Sharon hasn't been using the app with the students, but Sharon is a music therapist, and she's also a teacher of the visually impaired. She's been using the technique with the students. And Sharon, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So the last time I did it, I just tested out the app with my kids, just because my whole class this year is particularly tech motivated. So adding in an extra tech component was just another layer of motivation for them. So when I first started, I was just playing. Tonal Braille was kind of invented as a game with a series of steps and a sequence that you would go through, where you would say, we are going to play a game. Today we're going to match sounds or tones with Braille letters. First, I'm going to play the whole Braille cell, and you'd go through the whole Braille cell in order. Then you'd say, are you ready for the next part of the game? You'd move into letters. So if I'm teaching the letter A, I'd say, today we're going to learn the letter A. The letter A is dot 1. I'm going to play the letter A for you. And then you would go 1A, and it would go on from there as the letter A is dot 1. I'm going to play dot 1 for you one more time. 1A, and then can you sing it with me this time? And you take a breath and you sing it together. And then the idea is afterwards, they can either type this letter on a Braille writer, they can recognize this letter in some kind of Braille format, or what I've been doing with my students who are just learning Braille for the first time is I use kind of those enlarged Braille cells and have them create the letter in that enlarged space, just because they're still figuring out that spatial awareness of where dots are in a Braille cell right now. But I've used it with all of those different modalities, I guess, of working on a letter and then introducing the letter to the kid in embossed Braille, and then they can read it, or having them type it afterwards. And, I can see them singing through the letter as they put their fingers down on the keys to emboss when they Braille. And that's, it's been pretty cool to watch. And I don't know if either of you are Braille users, but from what I've gathered, a lot of kids that learn Braille are not thrilled about learning Braille. They find it to be a little tedious and pretty difficult. So adding in that music element just keeps them engaged a little bit longer and makes it seem like it's a little less monotonous for them, I guess is like the best way to put it.
Very well said.
Yeah,
That
so
makes sense.
I can relate to the tedium part. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't want to learn Braille at all until the first Harry Potter book came out. Then, of course, I was all about it. So I had a little bit of a go with the app, and my biggest takeaway for me was I have awful pitch. So I guess my question is, especially children you are teaching this to or using this as a tool with, do they have to be like particularly musically gifted or have good pitch for it to like register?
In our original study, it seemed that the students who did have perfect pitch seemed to do the best with the app. So
Sure.
I think it is helpful to have that connection to
Yeah.
pitch from an early age. I think those students benefit the most. But Sharon, what have you seen in your use of the app?
I've seen growth from every student that I've done tonal braille with.
Wow.
I've seen the most growth in those students with perfect pitch or really strong sense of pitch awareness. But like I said, even just music tends to be more motivating for a lot of our kids than just
sure.
working on braille. So even just the
Yeah.
extra motivating factor gets them to work on those things more. So for example, 4 years ago, I was working with a student who was middle elementary and still working on learning letters, just wasn't picking up on braille, and doing tonal braille with him was the first time that his teacher observed him independently braille the entire alphabet by himself.
That's cool.
The kid had, I love him dearly, but absolutely no sense of pitch, terrible pitch, but the music was motivating enough that it got him to be able to independently braille the whole alphabet, and read more letters than he was able to at the start of the year. So most growth in kiddos with better pitch perception, but growth across the board from what I have seen so far.
Wonderful. Thank you,
That's
Sharon.
great.
Sharon and I should consult before I go on the podcast. I appreciate your feedback.
So one of the things I would question, and I don't know if there's any how much. I mean, we need more study into this. It seems like, but are kids connecting the braille dots? Like, so they hear the music, they're interested in the music, they have the pitch, they get the pitch, they can probably sing it back perfectly, they can remember the dot patterns, but are they associating that with the dot patterns on paper or on a braille display? Are they? How's that coming along?
Sharon, do you want to address that?
So the first year I had preschool kiddos, I had a good size, not too many kids, but I had 2 kids that were definite braille users. We're definitely going to need braille instruction, and both of them, what I was doing is I was introducing the letter in braille, written braille, at the same time that I was playing it. So I'd play it, I'd put the letter in front of them and have their hands be on the braille so that they were connecting the tactile piece with what they were hearing, kind of that multimodal, right? Because when you think about how a normal kid might learn the alphabet, they're listening to an alphabet song, but they're also looking at something, usually looking at a visual that's related to the auditory. So having the tactile under their fingers is something that relates to the auditory that they're hearing, just kind of made sense. And when I started doing that, I started seeing much more increased recall or recognition of letters just tactily without the music as the prompt. And that was really cool that was a really cool thing to watch and see, to the point where one of my 3-year-olds by the end of the year was reading every single letter just by touching it. And she learned all of the letters in about 3 weeks using tonal braille. Exceptionally smart kiddo, very, very smart cookie. But tonal braille definitely, I think, pushed her in the right direction. Yeah.
And the app does speak to a braille display too. So even if you're just doing it at home, you can, if you have a wireless Bluetooth braille display, you can use that with the app.
So at Google I/O, I actually made the announcement that TalkBack 13 is getting integrated braille display support. Audience,
Yay.
if you haven't heard this yet, this is now public, and we'll talk about it soon. But so this is something that we should talk about offline, because it might be the case that I can't talk about whether it is or isn't, but it might be the case There might need to be a little bit more work to make sure that that's working with the new TalkBack.
Yep.
Because the Braille support is a little bit different in that. I think it's probably going to be relatively okay. There might be just some couple of tweaks for the app, but so were there any challenges in creating that app, or what did you learn from that app? Or
So I had never developed apps before. My programming experience is completely different. I'm used to running simulations for research I've done and that type of thing. So this for my first app experience, I just, turns out this is now an app that needs to play sounds. It needs to recognize speech. It needs to send, data to a Braille display. And so it was not easy. It was definitely trial by fire. And, it took me a good while to kind of figure it all out. But it was a rewarding experience. Once I had developed several gray hairs in the process, it was, in retrospect, it was fun. So I kept copious notes and just tried to kind of figure it out. Got there in the end.
Now, here's a question that I hate to ask, but are you on both big phone platforms, or are you mostly focusing on Android?
Well, I focused on Android simply because it was more easily accessible for me as a developer to just dive into Android and develop for that. But we're just everyday life. We're mostly Apple users.
And it is a bit of a barrier for the app that you have to have an Android in order to access the app. So even I had to buy an old Android phone in order to figure it out.
You're here speaking to a Googler, so I don't see Android as a barrier. But I get the point.
Well, and it's interesting to me because most blindness specific apps, at least here in the States, Android is usually the second platform they develop for. So I mean, at least me as an Android user, I'm selfishly I don't want to say vindicated or what, but I'm happy that it's the shoe's on the other foot for a change.
Yeah. One of the things I just pointed out, and one of the things I noticed with the app is it seems a little bit difficult to back out of the app at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any feedback from anyone using the app? It seems like there's not that many users.
Yeah.
So the Android back gesture or the back button don't seem to escape the app, which seems like a problem.
Okay.
Did you try this app out?
I did. And I'm very happy that it worked with the TalkBack Braille keyboard. And, so I'll say it mostly worked with the TalkBack Braille keyboard. In order to switch modes from, the sighted practice over to the quiz or whatever, I had to open up a new keyboard. My regular Android
that's a problem with the back. That's because the back doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it always wants to have a keyboard up.
Yeah.
And when you dismiss the Braille keyboard, you're saying you don't want a keyboard. Keyboard pops back up. So that's one of the issues there. I've also thought about ways to make the quiz more interactive. Right now it tells you, or not more interactive, but maybe adding some sounds to it or something like, "Hey, you got this correct," or something like having the automatic speech and or sound for those users who might be learning Braille, that they also get some a tone or a clap or something that just indicates, "Hey, you got the right answer." And
right.
I don't know, that might kind of add a little bit more fun to the quiz mode.
Or one of those buzzers if it's wrong.
Yeah.
Great feedback. Thanks so much, guys.
But I think we'll demo the app, and I think it's really cool that you guys are working on it. And for anyone out there who's interested, how do they get in touch with you all, or how do they?
Sure. So it's jharrison@csdb.org. Do you want me to type something in the chat so that you guys?
You can, and we'll put that in the show notes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and if you would like to speak to Sharon, it's SKAY. Sharon, are you okay if I share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Too late.
Some articles, so go right ahead.
SKAY.
Excuse me.
.org. skay@csdb.org. Sorry, am I saying that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we'd love feedback, and we'd love to hear if you're actually using it with students or kids, and if you have any success.
I have a part-time job at a nonprofit up in Minnesota, and I can say that we're definitely interested in using it. We don't get that many students, but we're very small. But we're interested in using it.
Excellent. Well, great. Let me know.
Yeah. And I'll definitely pass it on to my TVI friends because, I had to think for a second. My immediate reaction was like, is this like a solution without a problem? But then I had to kind of go into it and think like, hey, there are so many toys like this for sighted kids learning print. Like, this would actually be a very useful thing for, like, especially kindergarten, pre-K. Like, if my niece was blind, she would be all over this.
Yeah, thanks. I was kind of like really excited to share it with the world. It took me just years to just kind of, it took us a few years just to kind of decide how to get it out there. And so I just kind of got it out there really quickly. And we haven't gotten much traction except for this podcast, which is like the highlight. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get the word out. I think that you'll start to see that turn around.
Yeah, we just want to share things that we think are good ideas. We hope they might be good ideas for other people as well.
Yeah, I think so. And, I know several TVIs who I'll be sending this to because I think this could be very useful for them.
Awesome.
Harshad appreciates it. He says, excellent segment and great quality. Thank you, Harshad.
Thank you.
And, thank you to all of you. Do you guys have anything else that you want to add or share, or anything else that we haven't asked about that you think is important?
I just want to say once again how CSDB is really proud of Nimmer and his work in California. And thank you for having us.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
You all have a good night.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Well, let's see. That was Tonal Braille is the name of the app. Again, we'll update the show notes with a link to it. And give it a try. Give it a shot. Provide some feedback. And
it's also in the Play Store if you want to just search for it there. Yep,
it's in the Play Store. The problem with the Play Store is there's since it's a very it doesn't have very many downloads, it might be a little bit harder to find, but we'll throw in a link.
Yeah.
At least when I searched for it, it was not.
It showed up.
It showed up for me.
It was but I typed Tonal Braille in like very specifically, but.
Maybe I didn't. Who knows?
Anyway. Well, you're the Googler. You'd know how that works more than me.
Exactly. I'm drinking a beer. All right.
Oh, very nice.
So, let's see. Jumping to what's in the news.
Big week for you.
Big week. So as we mentioned there, Braille support in TalkBack was announced at Google I/O. I can't share more than what was in the presentation already. However, there is, there's a new connectivity module, which means that you can connect to the Braille display using TalkBack itself. There's no need to go out and get anything else. It's kind of tied in with the Braille keyboard. There are some new commands. And they're unified commands for all Braille displays.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it as well. A couple of the commands I know I mentioned in that video, it's like space with dots 1, 2, 3, space with L to go to the top of the screen. I know that that's a common note taker command that is used on a lot of note takers. So
I was very happy to see that.
I can't talk too much more about it, but it is exciting and it is something to look forward to. The release will be certainly in TalkBack 13 and right around the time or before Android 13 launches. So it will launch with Braille support. So that is something to look forward to with that. Google also announced quite a lot of other things as well. And I know that I did not put in show notes because this stream was created a few days before, so I could share the link out. So there's no show notes in the thing at the moment, but we'll edit that up and add those later. But there's a lot of things that were announced at Google I/O. There are things with, let's see, I'm looking here. There's a really great CNET article that goes through all the things that were announced because there's just a ton of things.
Yeah, there was like a...
So one of the things that they were talking about were kind of this whole theme of unifying around devices. They announced a Pixel tablet that is not going to be released this year. It'll be announced next year. They announced a Pixel Watch that will be later this year. They announced the Pixel 6a, which is a new budget device, but is very similar to the Pixel 6. They announced the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro and talked about the new design, and we're showcasing that. And, of course, that's not out till later this year. But it was all about unifying around all these things. There were also the Pixel Buds Pro that were announced as well. And they talked about the new AR glasses that are in development. So
And a watch, right?
Yeah, the Pixel Watch. Yep, I talked about that.
So is that tablet, is that going to be running Android or Chrome OS, or did they say?
I'm not sure they announced it. So,
okay. All right.
I can't talk about it, but
fair.
They also talked about a number of things in Chrome. For example, the ability to auto-generate, autofill random credit card numbers, which is good. It's a feature that I've been using for a long time in an app called Privacy that allows you to create random card numbers for different merchants and lock those cards to different... what am I saying? Lock those cards to the merchant so you can't... So if the merchant gets hacked, they can't use that card somewhere else. Which is really helpful.
Cool.
They're going to... I don't think it's going to necessarily have the same features as Privacy, but it will at least let you randomize your card number, which is good. They announced, of course, Google, being able to control what ads you see, and they also announced the ability to be able to limit some of the items that are found in Google search results about you when you search for yourself. Let's see, what else did they announce? So they announced a lot about automation of updates, like translation, auto-transcription for videos, stuff for maps, and Google Meet transcription as well. So a lot of this stuff has been announced. Being able to summarize things, they are working on that, and they talked about that. To be able to, for example, summarize a Google Chat, the content of a chat, so you can just read the summary. It's like a TLDR version.
Oh, that's cool.
So they announced that. And it works for documents as well. So instead of going through this massive document, you can just read the summary. Search is expanding. You can handle a query combining a photo with a text question and integrate Near Me into those searches, which is really helpful. And it can do searches based on a panned photo. So I call that scene exploration. So there's a lot of good things there. They're working on weeding out bias for different skin tones. Google Assistant's been updated. They announced some things to that, like the Nest Max is getting this feature called Look and Talk, where you can just look at it and it will recognize that you want to speak to it. So you don't need to say the H Google command.
Right.
They also talked about some of the quick phrases that you could just use without having to say H Google. So the idea is to improve natural performance of conversations. They guess what? Google Wallet is making a reappearance. It's been being revived.
Okay, cool.
So we now get Google Wallet, and it's basically just as it says. It's a wallet, so you can all your things from Google Pay will be in there, but also your ID and things like that. They're working with states to allow you to have your ID and everything else.
That's convenient, yeah.
So it'll be rolling out to Wear OS and Android. There's also early warning and SOS systems that are expanded to Wear OS. So some of these features that were in Android are coming there. Tablets are getting multiple application handling. That's they're also updating a bunch of their apps for large screens, so they're more interested in tablets.
Yeah.
They talked about more ways to have multi-device handling, like you can access your phone messages on your Chromebook, phone hub, or whatever, cutting and pasting between them.
Yeah, I was excited about that one.
Things like that. You can get the beta. Apparently there's a link for Google Wallet on CNET, but I don't know if it's legitimate or not. I guess it is. It's CNET, so why not? They talked about the Pixel Buds Pro. They have active noise canceling. They have better isolation, and they have a transparency mode. They'll get updates after they launch with spatial audio, and you can track them using the Android Find My Device.
Okay, cool.
So these are our Pixel Buds Pro. You'll be able to get them at $199 starting July 21st when they go up for pre-order. The Pixel 6a, $449. They talked about that. That'll be available also July 21st. They were teasing the Pixel 7 with a recycled aluminum camera bar and a glass back with an updated version of their Tensor chip. So there's that. It'll ship with Android 13.
Yeah.
Let's see. The watch has a new Wear OS. Lots of curvy glass, so it's a curved watch. It will support Google Wallet and have extensive integration with Fitbit. It will be available in the fall. Tablet is pitched as a complement to Pixel phones, slated for 2023. So that's a lot of stuff that was announced.
Yeah.
In the accessibility section, there's a lot more than that, by the way, but I'm just going through the summary here. In the accessibility section, another thing that was announced other than Braille mode was also the images mode for Lookout. And I believe they said that was coming around June 3rd. So that's going to allow you to pretty much find out the content of an image. You just share the image with Lookout, and Lookout will try to figure out what the
That's cool.
content of the image. That will be coming to Lookout, so that's something else to look out for. And there were also some
I see what you did
improvements to... Yeah, exactly. And there are also some things coming for, some improvements to live transcribe and the hearing modes. So some of these things that are being used for being able to detect certain sounds and better noise cancellation and things like that. So
I'm excited for that in Lookout. If it ends up being good, I might need to not pay for Envision anymore because that's literally what I pay for Envision AI for right now is that picture recognition.
Harsh, it says, wonder if this will be one of the highest viewed videos as Blind Tech Adventure. I don't know. You never really know.
It's very hard to tell, yeah.
It's hard to tell. I say the Jaws one that we did was very well viewed, but we don't focus that much on Jaws. But people really loved hearing me say that Jaws is the best screen reader, even though I don't use it.
I mean, it was funny. My old Hearthstone video got pretty good, even though everything was broken and I didn't even really play that night.
Yeah, exactly. So we never really know what's actually going to take off. We just kind of go along and do things because we enjoy them. We're not, at least I don't look that close to that views. What I'm more interested in, do people discover our content? And it seems like people are searching for things and are finding it, which is good to me. Like if our videos continue to grow over time, that's more of the interest. So, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe if you share it out with your friends, then maybe it will grow. But
share it out. Share it out in your Android group, Harshit.
Tweet it, Snapchat it. Yeah, exactly. Fuchsia more likely than Chrome OS. Check out XDA forum writer Shell whatever. I think he's talking about the tablet.
Yeah,
like I said, I can't talk about it. So
fair. I mean,
we can all speculate, and we'll see what happens. And
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, let's see. Windows, they have announced a new build and some updates to their apps. That's for insiders. Of course, one of the biggest highlights is the new sound recorder app. People seem to be highlighting on, and I will do a demo of that app. Let me take a look at top tech tidbits They tend to have some good stuff. Let's see if there's anything else I missed. Because I'm sure there probably is.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'll open up the email. Global Accessibility Awareness Week. That's next week. I'm glad people are going to be aware of accessibility. Excellent, excellent.
For a whole
Very
week.
Good, very good. Exactly.
Then they don't have to care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Android 13 will be introducing, we've talked about this before, restrictions on sideloading apps from unknown sources when they are using accessibility APIs, things that can do very harmful things potentially.
Oh, I know what that's directed at.
Something like that. Auto-generated summaries in Google Docs, we talked about that. iPod Touch is discontinued. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, sorry. I am sad about that. Like, that would be my ideal iOS device that's not a phone, so I'll have to just get a phone.
If you use a hearing aid, you can now connect it directly to the Fire TV Cube 2nd generation. Okay. Very good. I don't know what that is, but if you have one and you have hearing aids, cool. Let's see.
Yeah.
LibreOffice, I think, seems like a new version.
Oh, cool.
Bixby has a new update that's going to make it easier to answer phone calls.
Oh,
So,
cool.
You can just say answer or decline or whatever without having to. It's
Huh.
basically what you can do with Pixels and the Assistant anyway, if you set it up. Firefox brings down back the download prompt. I think we talked about this one too last week. There was an article written about the unmaintained mess of Linux accessibility. That was kind of an interesting read by this guy named Devin Prater.
Yeah.
Prater, somebody.
Yeah, he seems to be fairly well informed. At least I've seen his stuff in the Chromevox list.
Yeah, he's posted a few things, and so he wrote this blog article about the mess of Linux, and he's basically, his TLDR is don't use Linux because it's a complete mess.
Yeah.
My TLDR is a little bit more complicated than that because I think that Linux can offer a very powerful experience, and it is, if you're interested in any kind of networking or anything like that, a really powerful thing to know and use. It is a mess accessibility-wise unless you stick to command line or you're willing to use multiple accessibility tools, have lots of headaches, do a lot of re-imaging, try a bunch of things, look up things on the web, or you have a ton of experience with Linux and know how it works.
Yeah.
But I can't just say discount Linux altogether. But
Right. Well, and it seems like people who really want to get into Linux probably know that it's not gonna be, or should know that it's not gonna be like Windows or Mac or even Android in terms of just seamless things working right off the bat. Like, you kind of gotta do a lot more of your own work.
Apparently Bandcamp is being sued by musicians, blind people, because they're not accessible or something.
Their website lacks accessibility features, huh?
PNC is also being sued. Apparently there's a new implant that's letting people see.
Yeah, another one?
Another one.
A brain chip, Nimmer.
Yep. Okay, we're done with the news, I think. Unless you have anything.
No, if you want to read about what it's like to be a blind writer writing for sighted readers, that's also a thing here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that's that. I think my main takeaway here is I'm really excited for TalkBack Braille support. That's been, ever since I switched over to Android from iOS, that has been my biggest frustration. So I'm just very happy that it's being addressed.
Okay, well, before we transition, again, if you're watching, there seems like 5 of you here, so thank you. If you are watching, hit the like button, hit the share, hit the comment, subscribe, chat. Feel free to chat with us. We're watching your messages. And if you dislike it, hit the dislike button. If you don't like us at all, please unsubscribe. We don't want you here. Don't want to waste your time. If you really do like it, please share it out with your friends so that other people can find out about us. And also remember, we are in podcast form now, so feel free to look up Blind Tech Adventures in your favorite podcatcher. The problem with looking it up on the smart speakers right now is they seem to not like us as much because we are pretty new to podcasting, so you're just as likely to find some other podcast. So you might have to ask a few times, but it should start to get better here within the next little bit. So, and I'll try to publish the podcasts regularly Mondays. I am not going to promise, there might be times when they go out before that, but I will definitely get them out by Mondays. That's kind of been my work in progress over the last few weeks, and that's what's happened. So they'll go out Monday evening U.S. time. So there's that. Check us out, Blind Tech guys. No. Damn it. BlindTechAdventurers.com. That's the website.
Sorry,
There's all
I
kinds
shouldn't
of
laugh.
links to share it out. All kinds of links to different podcast apps and stuff. So BlindTechAdventures.com. And if you have a specific topic you'd like us to discuss or anyone that you want to see on the show, please invite them along. And we'd be happy to have you on as a guest or them on as a guest and talk about whatever that you think we should be discussing.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. Got to demonstrate should we do that or should we have our discussion about Braille? I think we'll do the sound recorder because if people want the Braille topic, they can continue listening on. If not, then the Braille topic might bore people and they're not going to listen to the sound
Fair
recorder.
enough. So. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll do the sound recorder.
We both might ramble on about Braille for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to turn on the screen reader. I'm going to do this screen reader mode. And I would share my screen, but we end up with audio echo problems, and so I'll just do the screen reader demo of the app. And if you're interested in how it looks, you need to be on an insider build of Windows 11 to see this new UI. And when you open up the voice recorder app, it'll update itself and become sound recorder. So,
let's see if it does that on my end. Okay.
Yep, it certainly should. If you're updated to the latest build, anyway.
I don't know that I am.
Okay. So I'm going to turn on JAWS.
Ooh.
Since people like JAWS. I don't know if JAWS has been optimized for this. I have never used this app with JAWS before. But we are going to find out. Let's make sure that it is going through... Sound card. Line 2. Let's make sure this is happening.
Very nice. Yeah, I feel like my insider builds are a couple days later.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an AMD thing or what, but...
Okay. Oh, I also need to change my mic setting. Oh, I forget how to do that. Mic and camera settings.
Yeah.
Just 1 second, everybody. We almost got it here. Audio.
Communications line. Communications line on virtual audio cable.
Okay, can you hear
Speaker
JAWS?
combo.
Yeah.
Mic combo box.
And you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Modal. Audio mic speaker mic volume. Close modal button.
Good.
StreamYard.
So yeah, JAWS forms of own noises.
Slow down JAWS.
Slower. Slower.
Oh, no, not that slow.
Faster. Slower. Slower.
There we go. All right.
Excuse me.
I suppose people like eloquence, don't they?
Faster. Faster.
I do.
Faster.
Fine.
No one mouse over elements. Num lock on. Num lock off.
What's the shortcut? Oh, I'm using 4X.
Select a voice profile type.
There we go.
Marion vocalizer. It's Malcolm. Majid vocal eloquence. 1 of 22.
Malcolm? Who's Malcolm?
He's a voice.
Slower.
Sounds very proper.
Slower.
Yep. All right. So we got eloquence.
Did Malcolm go to Oxford?
I don't know. Well, he is a British guy. Yeah.
Edit log blind dimmer end raw main full unlabeled full main end dimmer fly edit Chowing graphics StreamYard graph
All
Chowing
right,
blind
we can
dimmer
hear
end main
JAWS.
full unlabeled dimmer
Ooh, it's a graphic stream.
Yep. All right, we got JAWS. All right, good. So now let's open up the sound recorder app.
91%. Search.
Oh,
Start,
when
sir.
I hit the start menu, it says 91%. Very good. Maybe JAWS hasn't been optimized for Windows, this insider build yet. Let's go to Sound Recorder.
Sound mixer options. System settings. Find result. Change system sound. Sound settings. Choose your sound. Pin list.
This is
StreamYard cam.
All right, let's go.
Start.
Let's just type Recorder. shall
Sound
we?
recorder app. Press right to switch.
There we go. All right, let's type Sound Recorder app.
Sound recorder. Sound recorder. Import file. Import file button. Alt followed by O.
First thing we got here is an
Whoa.
import file button. So we can import a file if we want. And I'll just tab through this interface. Actually, might be better to use the JAWS, the touch cursor for this. You can see exactly what's here. Because sometimes tabbing doesn't read everything. So
Touch.
there we go.
Import file. Window. Preview. Window. Preview. Sound recorder. Preview. Window. Import file. Group. Import file. Button. As folk. List. Recording created on 5/12. Recording created on 5/.
So that was me testing it. So there's some recordings there.
Recording. 5/12/012. Recording created on 12. Record 12/00. Final 2. Final 12/50. Recording. Share recording button.
So we can share recordings.
Share. More options button. Collect.
There's some more options.
Playback group. Playback slider horizontal. Group. Vertical scroll bar horizontal scroll status bar. Headset microphone Realtek audio button collapse.
So we can choose how things are being recorded.
Start recording button.
There's a start recording button.
00 ratio 00 ratio.
And that's the timer.
00 period 00 slash 00 ratio 00 ratio 12 play button. Jump to start group. Jump to start button. Mark recording group. Mark recording button.
So we can create marks on the recording. So I think these are like chapter markers or something.
Oh, nice.
More options group. More options button.
And there's another more options. And that's that. So let's actually just go back into virtual cursor, PC cursor.
Touch cursor PC.
There we go. Now we'll just tab through the UI.
List box recording created on share recording. Share
So
recording
there's a
button.
list box, then there's a share recording.
More options button collapsed. Alt.
Some more options. Let's see what's in this more options.
Rename recording. Alt followed by R. Rename recording.
Rename.
Alt followed by R. Show in folder. Alt followed by O.
Show in folder.
Delete recording. Alt followed by D.
Delete recording. And that's that.
Leaving menu.
Let's keep tabbing.
Sound recorder. Playback. Playback left right slider 0%.
So we can adjust the playback.
Headset microphone Realtek R audio button collapsed. Alt followed by.
I hear a beer.
You do hear a beer.
Headset audio. So this is what I'm using as a mic. I'm using a headset right now. So for those of you who think I'm using a very expensive microphone, sorry to disappoint you.
You're using a very expensive headset instead.
That's right. That's exactly right. Still a lot cheaper than microphones and all its setup, but yes.
Start recording button. Alt followed.
So I can choose an audio source to record from. I can hit start recording.
Play toggle button.
Play.
Jump to start. Jump to start button. Alt followed by
to
H.
start.
Mark recording. Mark recording button.
Mark recording.
More options.
And this is the most interesting change, I think, to this app is there's a lot more settings. So let's go to more options.
Playback speed sub menu. Alt followed by E. Playback.
We can
Ooh.
adjust playback speed of playing the recording.
Settings.
And if we go in here, actually,
0.25 times.
there's all the way very slow.
0.5 times. 1 times normal checked. 1. 1.5 times. 2 times. 4 times.
All the way up to 4x. They completely skip past 3x, but we will forgive them that transgression.
Leaving menus. Pop-up.
Yeah,
Settings,
leave it to
alt follow.
Microsoft.
Yep. So let's go to settings.
Leaving menus. Button.
There's an unlabeled button. I believe maybe that's the back button. I'm not sure. We'll have to submit feedback on that unlabeled button. So let's tab.
Recording format expanded.
You can change your recording format.
.m4a MPEG4 default.
.m4a. Yeah, that's that.
Okay.
But there's also
.mp3 MPEG3.
Okay, cool.
MP3,
.umas.
WMA,
.flex.
ass something.
The Windows Media Player.
Yep, there's FLAC,
Cool. I like FLAC.
and there's WAV or WAV. So a number of these formats, I believe that in order to do bookmarking, you need to use something other. I know WAV didn't work.
I wonder
So
if FLAC would
I'm
work.
not sure exactly which formats you need. Maybe FLAC works. I'm not sure, but we can always set it to FLAC and see.
.flag.
There we go. But they might have to be like MP3 or something because bookmarks
Yeah.
did not work in WAV for sure.
I wouldn't be
let's-
surprised if it doesn't work in FLAC.
Yeah, probably because they're pretty similar. All kind of decompressed sort of.
Audio quality expanded.
Audio quality, let's see. And it says expanded. I'm not sure what that's about, but these are basically like combo boxes or something, like list boxes. So down arrow.
Auto.
Actually, you have to tab first. So you can't just down arrow. You have to tab first to the list. And then you can down arrow. So we have auto.
Best highest quality, larger file size.
Best.
High recommended.
High.
Medium smallest file size.
It recommends
Medium.
you be high. Cool.
Exactly. So I don't want to be high. I don't want to be medium. I'll be best. Can't be anything else.
Higher, best highest quality, larger file.
There we go.
App theme expanded.
App theme. And again, this is one of those expanded things. So you have to tab.
Light.
And then you can change your theme.
Dark. Use system setting.
And we'll say use system setting.
Microsoft software license terms.
There's Microsoft license terms.
Microsoft services agreement.
Services agreement. And these are links, by the way, but JAWS plays a sound because that's how I have it set. So
Yeah, you've got your
otherwise
sound
it would say
Microsoft software license terms.
Microsoft software license terms link.
Microsoft services agreement.
Microsoft services agreement link. Or maybe it would say link Microsoft services agreement. I don't know.
Microsoft privacy statement. Send feedback button. Button.
All right. So let's press this button to see what it's about. Maybe it's the back button.
Import file. Import file button. Alt.
Looks like it is. Yep. So that unlabeled button is back. All right.
Very good.
So now let's tab to the start. Now I'm not actually sure if this is going to record. I don't know what'll happen since the multiple things are using my mic, but I do know that this app works. So let's just figure out if it does.
List box. Share record. More options. Sound recorder. Playback. Playback. Headset. Microphone. Real text. Start recording button. Alt followed by
Start
R.
recording.
Stop recording button. Alt followed by S.
Hello, hello, hello. This is a test of Microsoft Recorder. Testing, recording, goodbye. And let's just tab to the mark button.
Pause toggle button. Mark recording button. Alt followed by
Mark
M.
recording. Oh, I just placed a mark. Hello, hello, hello.
Pause toggle. Mark recording button. Alt followed by
Let's
M.
do another mark. Mark. There we go.
Pause toggle button. Stop recording button. Alt followed by S.
And so if I want to pause it, I can hit Alt.
Pause toggle button.
Well, there's no shortcut, so never mind. You just
That's
have to tab to it.
unfortunate.
And if I want to stop, I can hit Alt S.
Mark record. Pause. Stop recording button. Alt followed by S.
Or just hit Enter.
Pause toggle button. Import
There
file.
we go.
Import file button. Alt followed by
All
O.
right, so the recording's done.
List box. Recording 2 created on 5/12/2022 6:56:32 p.m. with a length of 0 hours, 0 minutes, 37 seconds, 1 to 4.
There we go. So that's the recording from today. Now, I suppose I have to set the recorder to line 2. So let me do that. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear it.
All right.
Desktop. 100%. Sound mixer options. System.
Sound mixer options.
Settings. Settings. System. Output. Input. Device. Apps. List box. System sound. System sounds button. System. App. Systems. System. Apps. List box. System sounds button. Collect. Application file for JAWS button. Audio repeater 1 point. Audio. Freedom Scientific Voice Assist. Google Chrome button.
Holy shit.
JAWS for Windows FS. Windows Sound Recorder button collapsed.
There we go.
Windows Sound Recorder. Mute app button. Adjust the output volume. Left. Right. Output device combo box.
Let's
Windows Sound
adjust
Recorder
this
button
volume,
expanded.
actually.
Windows Sound Recorder. Adjust the output volume. Left. Right slider. 100%.
We'll turn that way down, otherwise that's going to be very loud.
90.
Turn that down to 50% maybe.
Seven.
And it'll probably still be
62%.
loud, but that's okay.
53%. 50%.
Watch, it didn't even record.
Output device combo box.
I don't know. We'll see. So I have to change my output device to line 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look. JAWS isn't reading the...
Line headphone. Line 2 virtual audio
There we
cable.
go.
2 of 6.
Guess I had to hit Alt down arrow.
Output device combo box.
There we go.
Input. Give feedback. Back button. Output. Settings. Desktop. Folder view. Sound recorder. Sound recorder button unavailable.
Oh. Hello.
Stream. Sound recorder.
Hi.
Button unavailable. More sound. Playback. Headset micro. Start recording button. Play toggle button.
Okay, let's hit the play button. Here we go.
Pressed.
Hello. This is a test of Microsoft Recorder. Testing, recording, goodbye. And let's
Cool.
just tab to the mark button. Mark recording. Oh, I just placed a mark. Hello. Let's do another mark.
Jump to start button.
Mark.
Alt.
There we
Mark
go.
recording. Mark recording button. Alt followed by M. More
And
options.
so if I want to pause it, I can hit Alt. Well, there's no
Mark, jump to
shortcut,
pause
so
toggle.
never mind. You just have to tab to it. And if I want to stop, I can hit Alt S.
Jump mark. More import file. List box.
Or
More
just
sound playback.
hit
Headset. Start recording. Headset playback. Left right slider. 0%.
So what I was looking for is to see if there's a way to skip to marks, and I'm not finding that. So I'm not quite sure what you can do with the marks.
Play top, jump to start, jump to start.
But that doesn't seem to be possible to jump to the different marks. Either that or I'm just not finding it.
I wonder if that's just because it's a FLAC.
Well, no, in Wave it actually gave an error message and said you can't create marks.
Oh, okay.
So unless JAWS isn't reading that error message, I suspect maybe there's not a way to jump between marks in this app. I don't know.
Yeah, JAWS would read an error message, I would think.
I would think so, but who knows? NVDA was not reading that, so... I'm sorry, NVDA was reading that, if there was an error, but I don't know if JAWS does.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Unloading JAWS.
let's get that out of the way. Thank God. Time for NVDA again. All right. So then I'll stop this. Oh, I wasn't even sharing the screen.
You're not even sharing your screen. Goodbye, screen reader.
Oh, okay. Christian wants to know which Braille display did I use for the demo at Google I/O today. Sounded like an Orbit reader. I just wanted to make sure I was right. That is right. It was an Orbit reader. I used it for a couple of reasons, but one of them is that I very much wanted people to hear the Braille and the fact that I was using a Braille display. So it was a very intentional choice to use the Orbit, and I think it's a good display.
It's a good one to use for that, yeah.
Yep. But yes, it was an Orbit display. So.
I finally got to see one of those this last week, and I was pretty impressed.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Braille was like really crispy.
Yeah, it's really crispy, good Braille. Some people might find it overly sharp, but just generally very reliable. You don't really get a lot of the issues with shadow dots or anything too crazy. Yeah. At least not with my Orbit 40. I don't know what other people's experiences are, but they work pretty well. I'm not as much of a fan of their keyboard. Their keyboard has a little bit of a high actuation point, and it's very loud and clackety. So I'm not as big of a fan of their keyboard, but, still good display. Very, very rugged. So, yeah, there we go.
Well, is that a good segue for us, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So we just wanted to have a little bit of a chat about Braille. I think... Do you want to demo the app?
Let me see.
I think we did talk about demoing that app. Do you have it?
I do. I wonder how it'll come through my headset mic.
Yeah, but you could just hold the phone real close to it. Turn the volume way up.
Okay. All right. Let me go grab my phone.
And turn off noise cancellation if you haven't already on StreamYard.
Oh, yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. My phone is plugged over here in the corner. Give me just a second.
It might be one reason to get a mixer, or an interface. Actually, I have an interface, but I don't have the required cable.
Hello. Okay, is that too loud? Or too not loud enough?
No, you're good.
Probably need to slow her down.
Yep. And you just want to hold the phone as close as possible to the mic.
Okay.
I know it's probably awkward, but...
It is exceptionally awkward, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Signal message, edit box.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, Google. Open Tonal Braille.
Assistant. Tap to dismiss assistant. Open Tonal Braille.
Here are your results for Open Tonal Braille.
Excellent.
Okay.
Signal. Search.
We'll do it this other way.
Showing Braille keyboard. Finder. T-O-N-A-L. Submitting text. Tonal. Clear search field. Tonal Braille.
Tonal Braille. Okay. This will be awkward when I'm typing on my Braille keyboard here. Maybe I'll switch to... okay, Tonal Braille.
Switch to whoever contracted. Showing Braille keyboard. Cited practice.
So it just said sighted practice. Switch to Braille keyboard. So I'll just type different letters here. Like if I do A.
1A.
And by the way, the sighted practice does not mean that you can't use it as a blind person. I think
Right.
That's feedback it will probably send them about that naming.
Yeah.
But sighted
Yeah, that
practice
was interesting.
It can be used by a sighted person to type the letter, but can also be used, when you're blind. But the idea, I think, there is to give the phone, or maybe the sighted person has the phone, and they're connected to a Braille display that is in front of a student. But it can also be used for the student to practice typing as well. So
Yeah. So I'll just go through here.
1, 2, B. 1, 4, C.
I wonder who's singing.
I believe it's one of their students.
5, D.
There is a video about this, so we can
E.
share that video out.
4, F. 1, 2, 4, 5, G.
Okay, alright, so let me go into other modes here. And in order to go into other modes here, I've got to dismiss the TalkBack Braille keyboard. So I'll do my 3-finger swipe down.
Edit box. Keyboard hidden. English. US. Poorly shown. Sighted practice. Showing Samsung keyboard.
Now, so this is interesting because I'm in an edit box, but now I can swipe around.
Chart.
So I've got a chart, which when I open up the chart, doesn't seem to be very useful, but
Keyboard
let's
hidden.
see.
Braille chart. Space. A. D. C. D. E.
I think
I think
that's
that's
more for sighted.
we can cover up for sighted users.
Navigate up. Braille chart. Space. A. Space.
And see, I have to
Navigate up.
there's
Button.
no like tabs on the bottom of the screen or anything like that, so I've got to do
Navigate up. Button.
navigate up here.
English. US. Poorly shown. Showing Samsung keyboard. Letter display.
Then I've got
Quiz mode.
quiz mode,
Letter display.
letter display.
Samsung keyboard. Search.
Eh.
Search. Translate. Expand over. 1. 2. Done. Period. Spacebar.
And see, now it took me into my keyboard where I can't get to the quiz easy.
Expression. Button. Voice input. Button. Disabled.
Uh,
English. US. Settings. Search. Button. Translate. Expand over. 1.
okay, so I don't... Once it puts me here, the only thing I know how to do is close the app and open it up again. So I will...
Google Assistant. Close all. Button. Tonal. Google Assistant. Tonal Braille.
close Tonal Braille
Actions. Close. Hands. Close.
and open it up again.
Tonal Braille closed. 1. Search. English. US. Poorly shown.
Oh,
Showing
hell.
Samsung keyboard. Finder. Editing. Navigation bar. Switch input method. Keyboard hidden.
I hate writing on a QWERTY keyboard now.
Touch. Speech rate 1. Selected. Radio
Oh,
button.
okay, that's why.
Screen search. Hide screen.
Go away.
Choose input method. Not selected. Not selected. Radio button. Talkback Braille keyboard.
TalkBack Braille keyboard. Come on.
Showing Braille keyboard. Finder. T-O-N-A-L. Submitting text. Tonal. Clear search. Tonal Braille.
Now we're opening up Tonal Braille.
Practice. Showing Braille keyboard. Silent practice.
So we're in sighted practice again. I've got to dismiss the keyboard again.
English. UN. Chart. Sighted mode.
Sighted mode. Let's try quiz mode. So I'll double tap.
Letter display. 8. 7. 6. Expression. Voice input. Settings. Search. Translate. Expand. 1. 2.
See, so sometimes it just
7. 8. 9. 0. Q. W. Done.
and it just opens up my keyboard and doesn't let me go to the next change modes here. Do you know what I need to do about that, Nim, or is there any?
English. US. Word shown.
Yeah, you need to change the
Expression.
keyboards.
Button. Disable. Voice input. Button.
It's just a bug with how the app works.
Translate. Button.
Oh,
Navigation bar. Switch input method. Button.
okay.
Keyboard hidden.
Oh, you're using the Gboard,
Select.
Yeah.
Unselected. Radio button. Talkback Braille keyboard.
and it
But
doesn't
let's
let
see
you
if-
change modes.
Contracted.
No,
Keyboard.
but let me.
Swipe up with 3 fingers
So-
for more options.
Now I'll dismiss
Letter
the.
display. English. US. Word shown. Sighted practice. Chart. Sighted mode. Quiz mode.
Sighted practice chart, sighted mode, quiz mode. No, just occasionally, if I like rotate my phone,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I'll just keep it still here. So quiz mode, I'll double tap on that.
Sighted quiz. Editing. Edit box.
Sighted.
Any way to bring that phone even a little closer to the mic?
Uh,
If not, that's
Letter
fine.
display. Editing. Edit box. Letter display. Editing. Sighted quiz.
There you go. Or does the volume go up at all?
I can try switching TTS. Let's see.
Talkback menu. Add. Editing options. Read from next. Copy left. Spoken left. Screens. Hide. Voice commands. Talkback settings. Text to speech settings.
Uh,
keyboard hidden. Text to speech. Text to speech. Preferred engine. ETI eloquent. Settings. Preferred engine.
Let's
Preferred
change.
engine. Map. Preferred. Not selected. Radio button. Speech services. Not selected.
Let's go back over to
Not
Google.
selected.
That
Radio
might be.
button. Speech services by Google.
Using speech services by Google. Selected. Not selected. Radio button. Commentary screenwriter.
Any better?
Yeah, a bit.
Text to speech. Settings.
Yeah, just hold it as close as you can to the mic. But yeah.
Okay.
US 40 shown. Showing Samsung keyboard. Cited quiz. Editing. Edit box.
So it says cited quiz, and I'm not really sure what to do here.
Letter display. Editing. Edit box.
Let's type a letter A.
Samsung keyboard. S. E. A.
And that didn't.
S. A. P. O. Expression. Voice input button disabled.
See, so I went to the top of the screen.
Settings. Search button. Translate button. Expand toolbar. 1, 2, 3.
And
4,
now it's
5,
just
6,
showing me
7,
the
8,
keyboard.
0. Done.
Can you touch and explore?
M. U6. Search button disabled. 0. P. Done. Navigation bar. Switch input method button. Sample 3. Voice input button disabled. Not P. Backspace. Done.
I can hit done, but that
Okay,
doesn't.
done.
Expression button disabled.
Okay.
Navigation bar. Switch input method. Samsung keyboard. Done. Period. Done.
I just did, and it doesn't do anything.
K. L. Shift off.
Uh,
Search button disabled. Tonal Braille. Settings 1. Search in. Settings 1. Tonal Braille.
let's see if I open up
Tonal
the
Braille.
app.
Edit box. Search. Clear search field. Tonal Braille.
Come on.
English US 40 shown. Showing Samsung keyboard. Cited practice. Editing. Edit box. Letter display. Cited practice.
So that's kind of a peculiar little bug
Chart.
here.
Cited mode. Quiz mode.
But then so I open up quiz mode,
Cited quiz. Editing. Edit box.
and I'm not really sure what to do here.
So when I open up quiz mode, there is an actual quiz. There is an actual, like, it'll
Cited
give
quiz.
you a letter to
Editing
press.
button. Cited quiz. Editing. Letter display. Start the quiz. Yes button.
Oh, start the quiz.
No button.
Duh.
Yes button.
Okay. Yes, let's start the quiz.
1, Navigate up button. 2.
Okay, so that's
And now
gonna
you
be.
just type the letter.
Cited quiz. Letter display. What letter is being played? Navigate up button. Samsung keyboard. Cited quiz. What letter is being Y? Y. G. B. Spacebar. B.
Okay, I pressed B.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. It needs to be more interactive. So on the screen above the keyboard, it probably tells you that you're correct or something.
C. X. Expression. Voice input. Settings.
But
Search
see,
button.
then when I go to the top of the screen, it just.
Cited quiz. Letter display. B is not correct. Try again.
What? It said 1, 2. That's B.
Next button. B is not correct. Next button. 2. Navigate up button.
I think you type D.
2,
So
4,
it seems
5. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. 2, 4, 5. I wonder if I can switch over to the Braille keyboard here. Let's see.
Navigation bar. Switch input method button.
I'm sure you can. The problem that you're going to find, though, you're going to run into a bug.
Samsung keyboard. 6, 7, 8.
Because you can't back out of the Braille
Navigation bar.
keyboard,
Switch input method button.
and you won't know which letters to type.
Keyboard hidden.
Oh,
Not selected.
yeah.
Button. Keyboard.
Okay, alright. Well, I'll just go to Gboard, I guess.
Yeah.
Task. Cited quiz. Navigate up button. Cited. Editing. B6. Edit box.
No.
Keyboard. Done. Delete. Be
So
deleted.
just type the letter D, I think.
Yeah.
S. D. F. F.
No.
Delete. F deleted. F. D. D.
D. Come on.
1, 2.
And then I go to the.
Notification shade. Collapsed memory. Expand button.
Okay, no, I don't want notifications. Go away.
Showing password keyboard. Yay button. Expand button. Yay button. Showing password keyboard. Letter display. Editing. D. Edit box. Cited quiz. Navigate up button. Cited. Editing. This is J. Let's try the next one.
Oh, okay.
Next button.
Next, I'm.
Navigate up button. 2, 3.
Yeah, so it only gives you one chance to type it, and if you type it
One,
wrong,
then no bat, no dice. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 5. I'm pretty sure that's an R.
Keyboard. T. Tango. R.
Okay.
U. I.
so then if you touch the screen, it'll tell you whether you were successful or not.
O.
It should
above
be doing.
above the
Cited quiz, cited
keyboard.
quiz.
But you're swiping
Edit box.
through the
Letter display.
keyboard, so
U is not correct.
Yeah.
Try again.
No, I typed R. You.
Next button.
Okay.
1. Navigate up button. 2, 3.
I obviously don't know Braille people.
Keyboard. U. I. K. L.
you
Okay,
do.
so-
I think it's just that your letters maybe not be recognizing on the keyboard or something.
So
the way
I'm
you're
doing
rolling your
L.
thumb.
I just did L. So
Cited quiz. Letter display. Good.
hey, good.
Yep.
Next button.
Okay. Yeah. So that. I see what it. Okay, so we'll try again. Next.
Good. Next button. Navigate up button.
1. Okay.
Keyboard. A. Alpha.
Pretty sure that's what that is.
It's also not. It's kind of random, but it goes through the entire alphabet, so
Next button.
you won't get a letter twice.
Okay, good. So I'll do next. I knew what A was. Great.
Navigate up button.
3, 5, 6.
Oh, wow. Okay, I actually have to think about that. That is going to be Z.
Keyboard. Space. X. C.
Okay.
Cited quiz. Letter display.
Yeah, so it'd be cool if it was a little
Good.
more interactive in that way.
Yeah, but I mean, fair enough. You can go to the top of the screen and,
Yep.
1,
Navigate up button.
3.
1, 3, K. Cool. That's the start of my name.
Keyboard. U. Uniform. K.
Okay.
Cited quiz. Letter display. Good.
Good. All right. So now it's getting my letters right. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea about kind of where this app is. I definitely really like the concept, and I can totally see how, like, if you've got a student working with a TVI or something, this could be very useful.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And speaking of that, we had a little bit of a conversation in the past about this relevance of Braille.
Uh-huh.
Have your views shifted at all about the relevance of Braille?
No, I think maybe my I'm a little less optimistic about Braille spreading and more people adopting it, but I mean, even just like anecdotally, most of the blind people who I see who have decent jobs, who are working at all, like, tend to be Braille readers. Obviously not all. That's just a trend. But, like, I
Braille
mean,
certainly helps with employment odds.
yeah.
I mean, just being literate generally helps with employment odds.
Yeah. And, like,
Whatever that literacy method is.
and I do think there are things you can't get with speech. Like, I will confess, most of my interaction with a computer, I use speech. But, like, you miss out on a lot of, like, the spelling of things and a lot of the punctuation and, like, you know, I just think that's important to know.
What display are you using now, by the way?
Right now, I am using a Q Braille, so I'm very, like, privileged.
Is that like this Amazon Q TV, whatever, Fire thing? I shouldn't make you laugh, I guess. That makes you cough.
Can connect to a hearing aid with a Braille display, yeah. No, they call this one a Q Braille. This is a HIMS display, because what it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be kind of a mix of a Braille keyboard and a QWERTY keyboard. So it's got like all the, the Perkins keys, but then it's got like Control, Windows, Alt, and a 6-pack, and the arrow keys, and all the function keys, and tab.
6-pack, that's good. I'm glad it's very fit.
Yeah, it is fit.
I guess it works out.
Well, it works out unless you're trying to put it in a backpack. Then it's a little bit too bulky. But, but yeah, so that's kind of my setup is like, this is the display I usually have it usually lives on my desk. It's very good with computers. And you can switch it so you can control the whole computer from the display if you want, or you can just have it work like a regular Braille display if you want. But it's not a very portable display, so I also have this NLS e-reader, which is basically, it's like the same body as one of the new HumanWare displays. They just kind of dumbed down a lot of the smart features of it so you could use it for free. But, that's much more portable. That one goes in my backpack with me if I want to, connect something to my laptop on the go, or something like that. So that's kind of my setup right now.
Cool.
What about you? Are you using mostly your Orbit, or?
So, yeah, because of the nature of my job, I've got a bunch of displays, and I would say the display that I absolutely use the most and the display that I love the most is my Active Braille, the Handytech display. I love the
that
Helptech,
one's
Handytech displays. They are incredible displays. Incredible hardware. The Braille, the dots, the way they sit is kind of like concave, where your fingers kind of sit in this little track and helps with reading the Braille and going across a straight line. The keyboard, when I think of a super, like, how keyboards should feel, this keyboard's it. Like, it's kind of like the mechanical keyboard of Braille displays. It doesn't have a super high actuation point, but it feels pretty good to type on. The fact that you can enable this, the sensing of when you've reached the end of a line, so you don't have to press a button to scroll.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Like, those displays are incredible displays. Very expensive, and the other problem is that if you have them in the U.S. here, what you'll need to figure out is what you're going to do if that display requires maintenance, things like that, because Help Tech or Handy Tech, kind of a German company, and I'm not sure what the U.S. support is like these days, but man, they're incredible. They have other things too, like Music Braille and Music Mode, and I don't know, but they're really nice displays. Very complicated. They're convoluted. Like their shortcuts are just very convoluted.
Yeah, the Q Braille's a little convoluted too. Like but this display I'm using definitely has a learning curve. The keyboard,
but I've got access to about I don't know, a good number of displays, and I like them for different reasons. I really, really, really like the Humanware Mantis. I'm a big fan of that.
Wait, hold up. You are a big fan of the Humanware Mantis?
I'm a big fan of that, except the keyboard sucks. I'm a fan of the design.
The keyboard does suck. I do love the design. I wish more people these days would put a QWERTY keyboard with a Braille display.
I would love to see that, and I would love to. The dream is, of course, if I get like a buckling spring keyboard with a on a display, like, man, that would be.
You'll have to make your own Braille display.
I'm gonna have to make my own. That will never happen. But Humanware, if you want me to become a customer, I will pay as much as you want me to pay for that kind of a. I don't think it'll ever happen.
The problem I had with the Mantis was, if you're an iPhone user, it connects and it's fine. But since I have Android and I use my Chromebook from time to time, the
lack of HID support's a problem for sure.
Yes, and that's one thing I love about this Q Braille is it can have like 6 Bluetooth connections at the same time, and it's very easy to switch back and forth between them with just one hotkey. So like I can have my phone, my Chromebook, and my computer, and if I have it all set up right, I can drive all of those things just from this one display. But
see, I'm generally a better typer of QWERTY, but also
me too.
I am very, I'm pretty familiar with Braille. I'm very familiar with it, but having to type it, I have to literally stop and think when I type certain symbols, like, for example, brackets and things like that, that I don't use or see all the time. I know what they are, but I have to stop and think about what they are, and that kind of
me too.
slows me down.
Yeah, me too.
And, or even like the pound sign or the, so I don't know. I like this concept of a QWERTY keyboard. The ergonomics is absolutely terrible with most. I just did there was a research study done on this like probably a few months ago that was sent out.
Hey, so I think I did that study too.
Yeah, they were asking about the ergonomics, and the ergonomics of using a Braille display and having to type and using a laptop is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's really frustrating and just terrible. It's bad.
I have to if I'm going to be switching back and forth between the keyboards, I literally have to, have my display off to the side a few inches away. Having it in front of the laptop is just miserable for me.
Yeah. What tends to help, at least for me, is if you have the ability to have a multi-level desk. So, something like a keyboard tray under a desk. So maybe you could have your keyboard below that and your Braille display right above it or something like that. Still not super comfortable, but I mean... Yeah, that's why I like the Mantis, but it does have a lot of limitations for what it can do. And the keyboard, I'm not a fan of most laptop keyboards. And its keyboard's especially bad since it doesn't have an applications, it doesn't have an insert key, it doesn't have...
Yeah.
I don't like it.
See, I struggle with its keyboard for different reasons. I don't I guess I grew up on laptop keyboards more than you did, so I'm a little more used to the function up arrow and function, but
I'm relatively used to that, but if that was my only problem and the feel of the keyboard was better, like the
feel of
typing
the
experience,
keyboard, it's so loud.
Then I would
too.
say I would get used to it, but I just don't like the. Well, I can't complain about loudness. I use loud keyboards.
Right.
Yes, yeah, it is. That can be a complaint for some, for sure.
It's loud, and it's not like. I mean, I'm not a mechanical keyboard guy, but I see the appeal. Like, it gives you a lot of feedback, and like it's nice. This doesn't. It's just loud and clacky and plastic and like.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, this doesn't feel great to
but
type on.
But if you want a modern display that's got a keyboard in it, the other thing I like about the HumanWare displays is, and maybe you don't care about this so much, Nimmer, but like having the Wi-Fi on the display so you can just download something from Bookshare or Bar.
You're right, I don't. I think it's a pointless feature. Most of the time it introduces security holes, and when Bookshare updates, then the thing breaks for 6 months or a year. And when I have to train people, then I have to explain to them why their favorite thing doesn't work anymore.
Oh,
You're absolutely right. I hate it. If they could keep it updated, if they could make it work properly, and they were willing to keep the device updated so I wouldn't have to have nightmares at night about security, yeah, definitely add an internet connection to it. But man, no, you're exactly right. I hate it.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
But... the obvious thing, too, is just... Like, if I didn't have a center here that would let me borrow things, and if I wasn't connected to the NLS where they let me beta test their e-reader, like, I can't just drop $3,000 on a Braille display. Like...
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like the Orbits, because they're still expensive, but they're half the cost.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more durable than most Braille displays, just in the nature of how they're built. You can drop a thing, and it'll actually likely survive the drop.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting you do this, but if you have an Orbit, please don't say Nimmer told me I should go drop my Braille display. But they're generally, dust a little bit more, able to handle dust and sand and things like that, and they can handle a drop a little bit better. If you drop a HumanWare Braille note or something on the ground, probably some of the cells are going to pop out. Like some of the dots are going to pop out.
Well, you know what? I dropped a HumanWare Braille note, and the dots were fine, but the keys popped out.
I mean, that happens too. But yeah, in a lot of cases, it's the dots. You might lose a couple of dots.
I can totally see if it would have landed that way on the display.
Yep.
And so this Mantis, this Q Braille, I think is built a little better than HumanWare stuff, but it's only because it's got a really good carrying case that comes with it.
See, I'm not a fan of any HIMS display, and it's for one reason. It's because of how they put this damn spacebar.
Oh, yeah.
I hate their spacebar.
See, I got used to it.
It's a tiny little thing, and I have to scrunch my thumb all the way, and like... why can't just the space bar be right on the edge?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I hate their space bars. I just can't. I have such a hard time typing on those things.
Yeah, it was an adjustment for me too. Like, I can do it now, but yeah.
I think that's where I've gotten lucky. I work in an area that of course, working on Braille Sport, so I need to have a few of these things, and so I can choose. I wake up in the morning and take my pick. Do I want to spend my day in Mantis Land? Do I want to spend my day in Handytech Land or Orbit Land or Focus Land? I like my Focus too for different reasons. I like the build of the Focus.
Oh yeah, that might be a good one if you were going to put a display right in front of your computer.
It's definitely, it's a more narrow and, but...
Let's see.
Anyway, let's see if we have any comments, shall we?
We do, it looks like. Let's see.
No, let's see here.
Uh-oh, I triggered a Google Home. Oh, no.
Yep, Ted Rose. Sorry, buddy.
Whoops.
Kurt will send you a PayPal payment to compensate you for that. Speaking of PayPal payments, we do have a donation link up on the website to support the show. And so if you want to donate to us, we split the costs, if any donations. We haven't actually gotten any, but we would split the costs. We get donations that come in. And it goes to paying for our monthly costs. We have quite a number of costs now. We have the StreamYard that we pay for. We have the Buzzsprout, which is our podcast host that we pay for. We have the domain that we pay for. So it's a number of any apps or anything else that we try and buy and whatever else. There's also, of course, our time. I think that's worth something too. So if you feel like donating, it's not mandatory. It's not something that you should do if you can't or don't want to. But if you feel like it, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
so,
and Kurt will send that payment along to you there, Tedros. Don't worry.
So, just a thing about Braille, though, is so this last comment from Tedros, it says, Kurt, you triggered my Google Home. Then it's got LOL, all caps with an exclamation mark. I don't think I would have caught the I don't think I would have caught the all caps and the exclamation mark if just Eloquence was reading that out to me.
No, you wouldn't. And there's a lot that gets missed through audio. You're absolutely right. My biggest problem with Braille is the fact that it doesn't work for the majority of our community.
Yeah, this is true.
And it's not just a matter of training.
Elitist.
Some of it is a matter of training and prioritization, but it's not just that. It's that literally Braille doesn't work for the majority of our community. And we have a very small number of blind people, as it is, totally blind people who Braille is actually useful for. If you have low vision, you certainly can make use of Braille, but it's not likely. I haven't seen too many low vision people who, even if they have the chance to learn Braille, they're not necessarily using it. And so, our numbers are limited, and out of the numbers that can possibly use Braille, the numbers that do use Braille, have access to Braille, can afford Braille, can actually read Braille. Right. All of those factors is so low, and the cost of Braille displays, you buy this Orbit or whatever, and this hardware that, I'm not talking about the Braille part, but the rest of the hardware probably costs $50.
Yeah.
Maybe $100. Maybe $200 if I'm being generous. I mean, that tablet the Braille Note Touch was based off of is probably like $100 tablet.
Yeah.
So when I think of that, I would like to see some innovation happening. We did have like the what's that thing called, the thing that you could read print tactily. What's that thing called?
The Opticon?
It's getting late. Yeah, the Opticon. Used to have things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that have come and go, but I want to see more innovation in the space and work being done to figure this problem out. We need better literacy. You're right. We need to be able to know what we're reading and, identify punctuation and things that, bolded text and things that we just completely miss out on reading with speech most of the time. But I don't think Braille is it. Unless we can bring the cost down. Unless we can somehow come up with Braille that is usable by people that have neuropathy.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about those Orbits.
Yes and no. But, I mean, there's, if you just don't have the... Like, Orbits don't do jumbo Braille. We don't have jumbo Braille displays.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when someone has problems recognizing dots, it's not just, can you feel a dot? It's, can you distinguish from a bunch of tiny dots, whereas something like a jumbo Braille might make a huge difference for some people.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's a terrible solution. Why? Because it takes up so much
space. Yeah. Which is the problem with Braille anyhow. Like,
it is. It's a huge problem with Braille.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't come to this with a great solution to the problem, except that I want innovative minds to come at this and figure something out, and we can all work together to figure something out. But all we keep doing is pushing this narrative of Braille is so important and we need Braille, and we just fail to recognize that, well, for the majority of our community, Braille just doesn't work. And a company kind of has to figure out how how much of an effort do they put into prioritizing resources, and especially when their company is a manufacturer of things like Braille displays and multi-line Braille displays. If you're putting in all that innovation into it and you're putting all that hard work into it, and that R&D and the research and all that stuff into it, at the end of the day, how many people are going to buy it? And because such low numbers buy it, that's why the cost is so high. So how do we figure out a way to subsidize that? Yeah. And the companies still earn back what they've made and maybe even make a profit, since that's what businesses are in business to do.
Right. And the way our rehab system, I don't think, is the best answer to that.
No. No. I
yeah,
don't think so either.
It's hard because, I really value Braille personally. But I totally see what you're saying of, and I think if it were to be able to work for more people would probably have, higher quality of life. But you're right, all those barriers are there. And I don't really see a way around it.
Harshid, should we ask Elon Musk? Well, let me tell you, we need an Elon Musk of blind people.
We need
the innovation. My brain is about 30 years ahead or more of where we're actually at. This idea of cane replacements. Sorry, but the cane should have been replaced 30 years ago. Or maybe not replaced, but we need better options. Braille, the same thing. We need other solutions that actually work for people.
Yeah.
And we need an Elon Musk of blind people for sure, 100%. And maybe it is Elon. I don't know. If you want to reach out to him, Harshid, tell him to come on Blind Tech Adventures. Maybe he can put his mind to the problem and help us out. Hey, we'd be glad to have him on.
We'd get 10,000 times more views on that one
Absolutely.
episode.
We'd be glad to have him on. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean it's hard because how do you I think we're in a position where I think we do kind of need to push Braille as the option that exists now, because I think it is the option that's here, and I think it's a pathway that a lot, if more people could get funding for Braille displays or whatever, or we could find some way to tackle that problem,
I agree that it helps, but you said yourself, when you use a computer, you don't use a Braille display.
I mean, it depends on how productive I want to be. If I'm
But a lot of people using Braille displays, they're not even using a Braille display for a lot of what they do.
Yeah.
They're still relying on speech. Why? Because speech is more efficient than Braille. In many cases.
It's faster.
It doesn't give you as much, but it's more, it is a lot faster. And no matter how fast you read in Braille, if you train yourself, you can recognize speech a lot faster.
Yes.
Not most people. I would say not everyone. Some people definitely need that slower speech or have problems comprehending it. But, I can understand speech at 400, 500, 600 words per minute. I can tell you I don't read Braille that fast.
No, I don't. The fastest Braille readers I know, which is way faster than me, are in the 300 word a minute range. And that boggles my mind for one thing, but I mean, it's true, but when I'm actually trying to get stuff done, it's so much easier when I can't even put my finger on why. When I worked my tech support job, the days when I forgot to connect my Braille display to my computer were a lot harder. They just were.
And it's because a lot of people, they don't realize it, but they need to see things spatially and visually. And, you are reading and you're you're doing something. Other than just sitting passively and listening.
Yeah.
And that is powerful. I mean, you're right that it does feel a lot more natural to do whatever, but it is also, you're not having a Braille display or just using speech is a lot faster.
Sure. But pairing the two together and going to the Braille display occasionally, that doesn't really slow down the speech part. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong. But it's just hard in, how do we promote the solutions we have now while still being innovative? And I think that's something the blind community struggles with in general of,
and our community doesn't really see a need for better solutions.
Yeah.
People, when I say cane replacement, people scream and yell and absolutely don't rip this cane out of my hand.
Yeah.
or I will kill you type thing. Like, absolutely no, Braille is the answer, 100%. We need Braille. And we aren't really thinking of all the people that this system doesn't work for.
Yeah. There are a lot of people it doesn't work for. But
I think of Braille signs in buildings, and like, how many people don't know Braille, so they don't know what restroom to go into?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the raised print helps where that exists, although I haven't seen as much of that lately, but...
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a problem.
It is a problem. And I think dealing with it requires a kind of nuance that I've not seen a lot in the blind community of, yes, this is the solution we have now, so let's push it where we can because it works, it's good at what it's good at, but at the same time, like, recognize the limitations. And that's how I feel about my cane. I go a lot of places with my cane, but it's like, and newly blind people, I really push them to get trained on it. But could there be a better way? Absolutely. And so, like, how come you can't have both of those concepts in your head at the same time?
Yep. Anyway, we're glad to have been here.
Yeah. I love how whenever you go to your keyboard, I'm like, I should look at new comments too. Oh, we have new comments.
Appreciation for this channel regularly, as well as for demoing several gadgets and apps. Thank you, Tedros. Appreciate it. Harsha, tweet it. I don't have Twitter.
I need to get a Twitter.
I do have a Twitter. I mean, I suppose I could tweet him. I don't see Elon paying much attention to some person he's never heard of, but who knows? Maybe. Maybe worth a shot.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, we do need someone. What do you think's the closest to that we've had in the blind world?
I don't know. What we keep having is people trying to reinnovate the same thing. We keep having people doing smart canes. We keep having people wanting to do multi-line Braille displays, and doing it badly. All of them have done it badly, and not just because of the cost, but literally, like, we have this new APH thing, but it can't really be used as a Braille display for an actual computer, I think. Or maybe I'm thinking of the Canute. I don't know. One of them can't be used as a Braille display for an actual computer. One of them can, but it's only like one line of text at the very bottom or something. It's not the actual multi-line part of it. There's a lot of limitations to these things. But anyway, that's what I keep seeing work on. Is like, let's re-innovate the same thing, because this is what blind people need, and not really like Lookout, or apps like it. How many apps do we have, like Seeing AI and Lookout and Vision and this and that? Like, there's so many that keep coming out, and guess what? They all pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
But we don't see much space in the I want to explore my environment type thing. I want to know everything that's around me as much as you can give me so my brain can filter it out.
Yeah.
I want a better navigation solution.
That doesn't involve just guiding me somewhere. Yeah.
Exactly. I want more focus on apps that emulate the voice or do something different in that space, where they're actually giving you more information about the environment, better solutions for doing things like shopping independently that don't require a human being. Solutions with these apps for reading arrows on signs, like in an airport, or finding the lines, the pathways, paths of travel. There's a lot of things I would love to see, and yet we keep doing the same thing over and over. We keep seeing this. Indoor navigation's another one. We keep seeing apps come along. We're going to make it so you can navigate. And then, like 3 years in, and I see, we added the lighthouse in Florida to this list of 5 places that you can now navigate to indoors. Like, cool.
It's pretty sad.
Cool. I'm glad. That doesn't impact me or you. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. It's been a fun broadcast. Kurt, thank you very much. Definitely check out that Tonal Braille. Give them feedback. Send it along through the Play Store. And that is that. So if you have any questions, email us. Email at blindtechadventures.com. We also have the new mailing list as well you can subscribe to. And the link to that is it's on Google Groups, so just you can go to Google Groups, search for Blind Tech Adventures. But otherwise, you can send an email to BlindTechAdventures plus subscribe, the plus sign, don't write it out. BlindTechAdventures plus subscribe at googlegroups.com. You can just send a blank email and then respond to the confirmation email that you get sent, and that is that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week. Bye,
So
Kurt.
so next week I'm gonna show Discord. I know I've had a couple people want to show that, so I'm gonna do that next week.
Cool. Yeah,
If we
we'll have
haven't
fun with
disconnected
Discord
yet. Yeah.
Get ready for the Discord. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.